Hello and welcome to Paper of the Week. My name's Steve Eddy. I'm a naturopath and we're going to talk about a fascinating paper of the week. Now the reason why I find this fascinating is because basically in this paper they accidentally treated someone with MS and they got better. Now that's weird. In fact, they didn't just get better, they remained symptom-free for 10 years. Now how can you accidentally treat MS, which is multiple sclerosis, which is that demyelination of the brain? In other words, like the wires in your brain lose their protective coating and they short out. It's a progressive disease. They don't really know what causes it, but this paper gives you a clue. So what happened to this poor woman is that she suffered MS at 33. She became very disabled, problems, can't move, all that sort of stuff. And at the same time, as luck would have it, I'm going to say this is lucky, she developed a mouth infection, gingivitis, and it was cultured, and it was due to a bacteria called Clostridium diff, or C. diff is what we typically call it. Now, C. diff is an interesting one because it's very tough to treat. There's two antibiotics which can treat it. One of them is sort of vancomycin. Now, vancomycin is an antibiotic which you give to someone and it basically kills most of your gut bugs because it's poorly absorbed. So this woman had multiple courses of vancomycin. She also had MS, remember, but vancomycin treats the infection. So she had massive C. diff infection, multiple courses, eventually cleared up the C. diff. Now, vancomycin is an antibiotic that's not very well absorbed, so it wiped out pretty much all her gut bugs. So the decision was made, because she had no gut bugs, was to give her gut bugs from her partner at the time, to donate his gut bugs to her bowel. And what they did was they gave her an enema, which I won't go into detail, everyone knows what that is. So anyway, she had a fecal transplant in that way, so it gave back the bugs in her gut. And you might think, so what? This is all good and normal. Her MS was still bad. But she was given the transfer in 2006. And ever since that she was given new bugs in her gut, her MS symptoms completely disappeared over the next 10 years. So all of a sudden, her improvement was dramatic. Her MS symptoms dropped dramatically. It was progressively getting worse. In fact, the type of MS she had was a progressive MS called secondary progressive MS, or SPMS. And that's a very degenerative disease. And her symptoms basically whittled away. It's now 2008, and this was published in a medical journal here called Neurological Neuroinflammation in 2018. And it showed that her symptoms have basically disappeared just by getting a fecal transfer. So up till 2006, she was getting worse. Given the fecal transfer, as soon as she was given that, her symptoms basically disappeared. Now, what does this mean? This means that possibly, and it's only a case of one, that the microbiome may have something to do with the health of the individual. Now, obviously, since that paper was come out, there's been another major review showing that the microbiome may be a strong causative factor for people with multiple sclerosis. Now, multiple sclerosis was around when I was a kid, and we used to do the MS readathons, multiple sclerosis readathons, just to raise money to find a cure. Now, I'm 50. I was about 8 or 10 at the time. So over 40 years, they've been trying to get a breakthrough in MS. There's been medicines, but basically nothing. They end up decaying, these people. It's mostly women, and it's mostly people living a fair way away from the equator. So if you're in sort of like Hobart, south of Tasmania, or right up north in England, you've got more chance of developing MS than those people on the equator, largely due to the vitamin D content. So that's one other factor, in sun. So there's certainly an autoimmune thing going on here, but it's very much to do with the microbiome, according to this study and others. So this is just a case report. It's been written up in the medical literature that basically after over 10 years, her MS symptoms have gone. Can we say it's a cure? Well, I don't know. But after 10 years, you'd think you'd be getting worse if you've got a progressive MS. She's getting better. Pretty much can run faster now than she ever has been. So she's getting better on MS. Not just a year or two, it's 10 years. So I love these studies. This is only one person. Larger trials are needed, but this is an amazing paper. So please sit back and we will publish this paper. It's open access, and so you can have a good read of it. So thanks for your time today.